Hi Akshat. So I'm sitting here with AIR 5 Akshat Agarwal from our CP Kanpur Center. Akshat, tell us about yourself, which school you went to, what you studied in 11th and 12th, because I'm sure lots of class 10 kids are watching and they would want to know what subjects to take.
Yeah, okay, so I'm from Kanpur and my school is Surabhi Modi Education Center, and in 11th I selected the humanities stream, which may sound quite unconventional to many people still, but since I was clear that my goal is in the field of law, and humanities stream, it basically offers you a lot of relevant subjects. Like we have got sociology, we've got political science and history. So this all, like we have GK and CLAT, and then the passages are also there. So all this, it gives you a base. It basically gives you an edge. So if there's if it's a person who has taken humanities and then the person is preparing for CLAT, that person, in my opinion, has a little bit of an edge over someone who has opted some other stream and then they're going for CLAT, because they know the things. They know what's going on about the world, about the country, about public policy. So I think, that's a factor.
Akshat, are there any other lawyers in the family, or
no, actually,
I'm
a first generation, yeah.
So we just heard from AIR1, Rishabh Shivani is a first generation, Akshat is a first generation.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of first generation lawyers are now going to capture this field.
Exactly.
Have you thought about what you're going to do after law school, or is it still?
Initially when I started preparing for CLAT, I was inspired from Suits. I think that's the case with almost every CLAT aspirant. Like they see Suits and they're like, oh, look at that, and they're charmed by the life of Harvey Specter and everything like that. So I was like, okay, after law school I'll go with corporate law and stuff like that. But then it sinks in that there's a difference between real life and real life. So I was like, okay, I'll leave it to the college. Let's see where that takes me. So right now, this is my take. Yeah, I'll figure it out later.
Yeah, I mean, you have 5 years to figure it out.
Yeah.
So, in 2020, CLAT, the paper was supposed to be different. It was announced in 2019, then the pandemic happened and there was so much of uncertainty. The whole paper was reasoning based paper. And, let's take it one by one. How you started going about with the English section. So let's start with that.
English section. Okay. So the thing was that I was quite an avid reader. Like since my middle school, from class I think 7th or 8th, I love to read. Earlier I was restricted to fiction books and something that entices the children and all. Yeah. But then I moved on to better genres like non-fiction, some historical works and stuff like that. So as far as reading is concerned, I had a pretty good base, I should say. So I did not have to specifically devote time, 1 hour I have to give to reading.
Yeah.
I did not have to do that, and so that would help with my vocabulary as well. So I had a head start basically. And if you're aspiring to give CLAT, and maybe if you're in 10th or something like that, that's what I would advise you: read as much as you can. So that once you start preparing for English, for CLAT, the RCs and stuff like that, you'll be very familiar with the style of writing, what's written, and how do you comprehend that. So I think you should incorporate that in your daily habit, reading.
So you've been a classroom program student, and I noticed from my teaching, I teach English and logic. Just for the benefit of the viewer. So what I noticed about you was you were very, very regular. I say this every time I make you interact with the children, that there have been occasions where Akshat has been the only kid in the classroom. That's how regular he was, and he had that whole 2 hours, and he would spend the whole 2 hours doing the session and then he would go back. So many kids become irregular when they clear this paper, during while they're doing their class 12. So even with Rishabh and now with you still haven't passed from class 12. I mean, you're still awaiting your result, and you are going into college. So that's phenomenal. It's a dream come true for most students and their parents. So this regularity, I feel, has a huge role to play in your success, because it shows your focus. You were doing all the lessons, you were regular, with doubts, everything in the classroom, and that's something which I really loved about you. And that I think endeared you to all the teachers, because they look out for such kids, and then they're always, they have your back. They're like, okay, Akshat, what happened,
Yeah, exactly.
So many students are irregular, not because I think they want to be, it's just that they get completely harrowed with 12th and then this. So how did you get that balance?
First thing I would like to know, I can only say if you've taken humanities, because things are a bit different if you take science or commerce and then you pursue CLAT simultaneously. So for that I can't say, but if you've opted humanities and then you're pursuing CLAT, it's quite easy, I should say, to strike a balance between the two. The thing is that you need to divide your time between both the preparation of both the things. The reason being, if you're preparing for boards and 12th as well, it gives you that regularity as you were talking about. So that, okay, you're into that habit of reading, you're into that habit of studying for long hours. So CLAT doesn't feel like a burden on you.
Yeah.
So that does the trick. And you can refer to as many material and stuff as you want, but it is the notes that you make that do the trick. So for that you need to attend the classes. That's the least you can do. You just need to go and you just need to come and you just need to sit with complete attention, and from then on it will go smoothly. So that's the thing. But of course the thing is, prioritize CLAT, obviously. Divide your time in such a ratio so that CLAT gets the lion's shares. But it is very much possible. In fact, I would say it is better that you prepare for CLAT while you're in 12th rather than specifically taking a drop for it, because once you take a drop, it hampers your regularity. Of course it does, because when you have the school routine and stuff, so you're already into that habit of studying for long hours. So that helps with the CLAT preparation a lot.
So you did mention something about material and all. I mean, best to my knowledge, most of our classroom program students, I see, have subscribed to only one material. So do you feel the need to procure lots of material and test series? Because I heard in one of your classroom interactions with the junior lot, you specified, do not do such a thing.
I don't. I do not support that, because what happens is that aspirants think that if we refer to this material, this coaching material, that coaching material, so we have our scope of knowledge increases. It does not, to be very honest, because in this exam you don't need quantity. It doesn't matter how many questions you practice, but what matters is how well you practice them. So in that sense, if you have a limited number of books, you have targets basically. You have a defined goal, okay, I have to do this and I'll redo this. That should be the strategy. But once you have this material as well, that material as well, and all this material, this big stack of books in your bookshelf, it's confusing and it burdens you a lot.
In fact, I think most of you told me, I'm not sure it was particularly you, but most of our top rankers under 50 told me that they haven't even been able to finish the 140 CP mocks.
We haven't.
I think you still have. I
have not been able to finish a lot of. I have a few purple books. They're untouched. A few black books. They're untouched. Even those 1000 CR and RC. 50% of it is incomplete
because
even today.
1,000. I mean,
there's like 1,000.
My students solve 200 properly.
That's it. That's all you. Exactly my point. It should not be your goal to solve a lot of questions. Then next day you're going to class and you're bragging, oh, I solved this book, I solved that book, I've completed this book. It doesn't matter, to be very honest. It really does not matter how many questions you do. What matters is how well you learn from them. How well you analyze your mistakes. If you get a question right, why did you get it right?
So that brings me to my next question, is that some of you kids who are also now the top rankers, is that I noticed that after mocks you come back with your doubts and you spend time on your mocks. And most aspirants are, I think, do not even know how to analyze a mock.
Yeah, that's true.
So then they feel that if they write a mock every day, it'll benefit them, without realizing that they are only repeating their mistakes.
Exactly.
So how much time did you take to analyze a mock? How did you analyze a mock? Did you redo it? Did you solve it all over again?
Okay, so the thing is that at CP, Surabhi ma'am stresses a lot on analysis If you see like in
Yeah.
YouTube lectures, we've seen like you've told us analyze, and that is true. That's why I'm reiterating that, because see, the thing is, it's simple. Once you do your 2 hour mock, it's not complete until and unless you analyze it. So analysis, in my opinion, at least requires 3 hours. The reason being, first of all, you're redoing the mock.
Yeah.
A 2 hour mock, you'll redo it. So that takes 2 hours.
Yeah.
And in between, you'll also analyze, why did I leave this question?
Yeah.
Why did I do this question? And why did I get it right? Why did I get it wrong? So analysis should not be just about, okay, these were my correct questions, so I'm fine with it, I'm cool. These were wrong, so I'll just check these questions and I'm done.
Yeah.
No, that's not where your work is finished. Your work is finished when you've analyzed the entire mock, each and every question, and that is when your first mock is complete. So I'll say it again, don't go after, there'll be a lot of CP mocks, there'll be proctored mocks as well, there'll be unproctored mocks as well. There's a lot of unproctored mocks actually, but you won't be able to finish all of them, and don't even target that.
Very true.
Don't aim for finishing I'll finish all these mocks. Don't do that. You don't have to do by the end of the few months, you don't have to like go for, okay, I'll do a mock every day, like 1 week I'll solve 7 mocks. It's pointless, seriously. At max 2 mocks per week, 3 mocks per week, that's it.
And before I move on, so you were doing pretty well towards the end. In fact, I think 4-5 months before your paper also, you were getting good ranks in the CP mocks. So what was your average score in our mocks, and how much did you end up scoring in the paper?
Right, so my average score by the end of the few months, it was like around 100 above at least.
Yeah.
102, 105.
103,
yeah, I would say that was the range. And
what was your final score in the paper?
I ended up scoring 117.25.
So that has been an average for most of our top rankers, at least, who so when I say in the classroom that what you score in our mocks on an average, you end up scoring 10 more marks in the exam.
That's true.
So that target we have been meeting, which is very heartening. And I think finally GK has always,
of course,
played hide and seek in the paper.
It's a nemesis. It's really a nemesis.
Do you think your GK preparation would be entirely waste, or do you think being prepared is always better, and even with these dicey questions?
Yeah, you never know what the examiner may ask, first of all. Like, I mean, there's a lot I admit that there's a lot in GK, and sometimes you'll feel like, okay, what if they don't ask this? Why am I spending so much time on this? Why am I spending so much time on revising these dates and numbers? Like the height of this mountain and the range of this something. So all these pesky numbers and stuff like that, you're like, why should I do that? But the point is, when you're preparing for CLAT, you don't know what they may ask. And once, if you start filtering stuff, that I'll not do this, I'll not do that, then chances are you lose out on a lot of marks. Because agreed, there'll be only one question of a particular type. Like, say they want to ask a date, so there'll be just one question, and you have like at least 50 or hundreds of dates of different events, of different days and themes and stuff like that. They'll just ask one. So you're like, why should I put in so much effort for just 1 mark? But it matters because these marks are very scoring. So if you've prepared well for it, and it's not a waste. GK is never a waste. The reason being, it really broadens your perspective.
True, that's true.
Because in the field of law, you'll do a lot of writing, you'll do a lot of debates, and if you don't know the basics, if you do not know how things work around yourself, then you can't do all those things, and that is what helps in GK preparation actually.
Yeah, so I have been telling the same in my classes. Do not prepare for CLAT, prepare for college, and I think this is what you meant when you said
as far as GK is concerned, yes.
In fact, the whole thing, reading, reasoning, you are because at the end of your preparation, I think you will consider yourself well read. The kind of reading you should have before you start college. It gives you confidence to even exist in college.
Exactly, because like for myself, I'd say I've always been involved in a lot of debates and stuff, and a lot of MUNs and everything. So for that, I realized that your innate knowledge gives you an edge. So if you know about stuff, if you know the basics, if you know why things are the way they are, and that you can know with the help of GK only. So that's why GK preparation is never a waste. After giving your CLAT exam, you might think that, okay, these are 35 questions, that's it. And why do I need to do so much? I mean, even I had like those thick registers, 300 pages registers of GK.
In fact, I think Akshat, I've seen your vocabulary registers also.
Yeah.
They were really, really nice, you know. And I showed it to the whole batch in Kanpur. Because Akshat's batch, if sometimes it did not come, Akshat would come in all the other batches also. So you're pretty much like Rancho from idiots. Kahi pe bhi baith ke gyan mila.
Yeah.
So I remember showing your vocabulary register also to this thing, and I would say it is not a waste. It has helped you achieve
not at all.
a phenomenal rank.
Yeah.
And you were always a confident and smiling kid, and you still are. But now it validates you more, isn't it?
Yes.
And it's a great rank from Kanpur after so many years. So you actually put your city back on the map and your school.
Yeah.
So congratulations to you and in all your future endeavors, whatever career in law or outside law that you may want to pursue, the world is there for you to capture. And I'm sure being the person you are, you will have a phenomenal time in law school also. Like you're a people's person and you like to read, so that's a great combination. One message to anyone?
Yeah, basically to all the CLAT aspirants now. Just one thing, you know what happens, since I've been in touch with a lot of juniors as well who've been asking me how to do this, how to do that. One thing is that whatever you score in mocks and all this stuff, when the day of the exam comes, leave it all behind because it doesn't matter. I'll be very frank, I never scored 117 in any CP mock. Obviously, because the level of CP mocks, it's like it's a class apart. So my point is that once you walk into the exam center, your temperament should be that I got this.
Yeah.
I am confident about my preparation and no one can get a better rank than I can. I mean, it may not turn out to be the reality. That's not the point. The point is that when you get into the exam center, there'll be you'll be under a lot of pressure. What you need to ensure is that you give your best. So if you have the right mindset, that enables you to give your best. So just do that, and all the best to everyone who's preparing for CLAT.
So stay positive and whatever the outcome, I think
just rock it.
Just wear your smile.
Yeah, exactly. I came, I enrolled, I conquered.